let's get right into how I found that project. Okay, so I started out wondering about oil and water, and so that's how I chose the project. I also looked at a few videos and just saw a bunch of science experiments, and this was my favorite because it looked pretty cool. And so basically for my project, I started out mixing stuff with water and oil. So I put the water in first and then the oil on top, and I realized that it would never come together. It always separates from each other. And that's why I came up with this. I realized about the water and oil and how the water has pollution, ocean has pollution. Hello everybody, my name is Luke David Hansen, and this is my project report for my STEM. So I'm just going to be explaining everything that's on this piece. Okay, so right here is some of the sample water from the project. Right here is some of the sample oil from the project. Specifically, it's olive oil. Right here are some facts about how I came up with the project and how I thought that this would help our environment. Right here are the notes that I took on just sketching a bunch of notes about this project. Then here is the Airborne and the Alka-Seltzer that I put in the water while I was experimenting with the water and oil in the first place. Here is the pictures of the two experiments that I created, because what I wanted to make is I wanted to make a kind of a hair blanket for the water so that it collects up all the oil in the ocean, and that thus gets rid of the pollution and most of the pollution. Right here is the water right here, down here. This is the hair on top for this picture. This is water down here, hair, and the hair, as you can see, is collecting all the oil right there. This is a picture of the dog hair and the oil on top of the water, and it collected all the oil efficiently. This is just the oil in the hair, just to show you what the oil is actually doing to just to show you what the hair is actually doing to the oil. Gotta switch it around a bit. This is a picture of just the oil being collected by the dog hair. No water whatsoever. This right here is all of this research collected. This right here is some sample hair from my Doge. And this is a picture of the dog from a few years ago, because she just looks the most adorable in that picture, like she always is. And that is my presentation. Well, doggo now. Millie, say hi to the camera. I've been expecting you. So now I'm going to list off all of the things in this presentation that I did not read, specifically right here, right here, right here, and this whole page. Okay. I started out wondering about oil and water, so that's how I chose this project. I then did my research and I mixed the water and oil together, and nothing would work to get them together. I did more research, and the reason that the oil stays away from the water and is separated is because there's so much air in the oil. That is why it rises to the top of the water instead of mixing in with the water. I then did some experiments with the water and the oil to try to get them to mix with each other, or just try to get some sort of cool looking science experiment. That is the Alka-Seltzer and the Airborne. Oh, the water sank down. I then added Airborne to the water, which is right here, and oil container so that the Airborne tablet stayed in the oil for a while, exploded, and then sank down into the water in a huge clump of vitamins. So Airborne, as you know, is like, you can put it in your water and it like melts into the water so that it's a healthy vitamin drink for you. And so what it did, it stayed in the oil for a while, and then it kind of just, it expanded in there, but it still stayed as a material. And then it sank down, and then it all exploded into the water. Then I tried the Alka-Seltzer, and pretty much the same thing happened, except it went into the oil, and when it exploded in the oil, so there were like tiny little bubbles in the oil, and then those bubbles of white sank down into the water and then became normal Alka-Seltzer. Then I started thinking about the main project and started thinking of the ocean. When people dump oils into the ocean, then the water gets polluted, right? Not exactly. Since there are oils in the gas and the oil rises above the water, thus separating it, the water doesn't necessarily get polluted. It's just the oil rises to the top of the water and it separates itself so that the oil is causing the problems, not oil mixed in with the water. Then I also thought about how the airborne did not stay in the oil. It became a more solid object. It sank down to the bottom of the container. That is why many sea creatures, like fish and mammals, get trapped by man-made objects. The object goes through the oil, and since the oil made the object heavier and more greased, the object then sank down further and further until something gets caught into it. That is why I came up with this project. So then we also had to do another project where I had to think about what I could do next with this project. Go further research through this project. And so I decided to make tarps as a start. Tarps with hair under it, and the tarps are only expanding throughout swimming areas so that the people don't get polluted, and also we can move it to wildlife places so that the wildlife water does not get polluted. Thank you so much. It's Luke David Hansen reporting out.